Good morning. I got the light now. We don't have music yet. Music is coming. It's Tuesday, the 28th. This is Open Athletes. I'm Jeremy Wolf, former MLB draft pick, former founder of More Than Baseball, which you've probably never heard of, but helped form the Minor League Baseball Players Association. This is Open Athletes, my daily show, organization, podcast talking about the business of sports and having a lot of fun talking about the business of sports. This is our second full show. There's been some clips and stuff that we've done, but I'm really excited to see what comes up today. It's going to be a lot of fun. Coming up today, prediction markets. We got to talk about Kalshi and Polymarket. Facebook, Meta might make their own. Of course, Robinhood's and the others are going to get into it and what it means for sports betting. Cultura streamed the World Cup to 1.3 billion sessions and let an AI run and control the room, which is very interesting. And to trust an AI to do that for that many people. Athletes are ripping the media business out of brands' hands. Obviously, we could talk about Roger Federer and Holland, and his own channel, which I think is really interesting, and the other like sports businessy, contenty things that are happening. An 18-year-old World Cup winner just became a clothing line. We're going to talk about Yamal and all of the things that he is doing because it's very, very, very impressive. 19 now. I think he turned 19 like the week of the World Cup final. We're going to talk about Ohio State and how they sold like the jersey patch to Chase and just the money in college sports. And then baseball is slowly but surely. We'll see what the owners do. We'll see what the lockout is going to bring. There might be a salary cap in Major League Baseball, and we're going to get to that. And I used to have a front row seat to conversations like this, and so it would be cool to like dive back into that thought process. England's about to ban gambling off the front of the shirt, so it'll be very interesting to see sort of what brands do. In the States, anything goes, but it's good that something, Europe polices a lot of the things that should be policed in the States when it comes to the overreaches of the tech industry and all the other things that are happening. So we're going to talk about that. And ESPN went out and bought a whole HBCU conference and a dance league, which I think is interesting on how ESPN is trying to find its relevance again, because it is currently making a lot of money, but I am not tuning in to watch SportsCenter every day. And I'm not tuning in to watch people be talking about sports in ways that I don't like. And it's just a bunch of drama. And I'm sure other people feel like me, and maybe they do. Maybe you do. Okay, quick hits. College sponsorship becomes software. Learfield, which runs 12,000 plus college sports deals across 140 athletic departments, partnered with a platform called Sponsor CX to track activation, reporting, NIL, and analytics. This is the second attention. The second attention gets measured, it gets priced. Vibes are over when it comes to NIL. All the money's in. People are going to cash in. People do be cashing in. It's coming. NBC Universal hands YouTube the remote. We talked about this a bit yesterday. Peacock is bundling into YouTube Premium. The biggest network in America decided to rent the world's front door. When NBC rents distribution instead of owning it, the wall between media, the creator, is gone. Peacock is now a YouTube channel. Peacock is part of YouTube, but Peacock is now seeing the YouTubeification of all of media. And much like this show, like I mentioned yesterday, we are doing the same thing. We're not bundled with the YouTube Premium, but maybe one day we will be. Maybe we'll have a studio and a desk. Maybe I won't have a dog bed in the back. Guardians become the 12th MLB jersey patch. Cleveland Guardians partnered with Marathon for a jersey patch, the 12th MLB team to sell that real estate. Hold that number, because Ohio State is about to make all of the 12. Very sorry. I don't know how much Avnet paid the D-backs, but it's not as much as Chase is paying Ohio State. Premier Lacrosse League, which is an amazing startup and an amazing story, closed out $100 million Series E, led by Aries and Josai, ESPN, Glenn Powell, Rob McElhaney, and others buying in. Lacrosse is back in the 2028 Olympics, hosting in Los Angeles, and suddenly every celebrity with a cap table wants a stick. That was fun to write. Wants a stick. They want to be part of Major League Lacrosse because why? Because professional sports is sexy. I love having that. It's sexy. Even as professional lacrosse. Professional lacrosse is really cool. So if they're raising $100 million in a Series E, somebody sees an upside. Professional sports is an upside. It's an upside win. Bet360 buys a badge. Launched a new partnership with Juventus, right? Because they're potentially not being able to be on jersey sponsors in the Premier League. The betting giants keep buying onto the biggest clubs, even as regulators circle what comes for Bet365 will in decades come for DraftKings, FanDuel, and others. We can have a whole show about betting in sports and what it's done to sports, what the money has done to sports. Can you trust anything that is happening in sports anymore? You have to, right? You have to relinquish it, right? You have to be willing to trust that the things that are happening are real. However, you can just go on Couch at your Poly Market and put a bet down. And if you're a referee or whoever, it's easier down more than the temptation is there. So, not saying it's not happening. It is. I mean, it is happening. But it could be worse. And it could be better. So it means soccer, Unilever, Dove, Axe, the whole soap shelf rolled out its largest ever sports activation around the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The biggest consumer brand on earth just made the World Cup its most valuable ad unit. That's what a billion streams does. FIFA made so much money during this year's World Cup. The number's not coming out, but it is going to eclipse the Qatar World Cup for sure. Water breaks alone, or whatever, hydration breaks alone, we're bringing in a lot. $10 million a game for having those. Plus all of the things that America just enables from a sponsorship advertising perspective. Plus all of the betting. Crazy. The amount of money. I'm very excited to see sort of what the ratings are going to be on that, but also what the total amount of money they made. Because they're the most valuable sports entity in the world. In the world, hands down, without question. Cultura, the World Cup, and 1.3 billion viewers. And this one was really interesting. So the biggest live stream event in history, World Cup 2026, Argentina, Spain. As soccer games go, the entire World Cup is incredibly entertaining. Okay, Cape Verde, Messi in his maybe last World Cup, but who knows? Ronaldo was there. More teams. Italy was not there for the third World Cup. I don't want to talk about it. That makes me very sad. Italy should be in every World Cup, but they're not. What could the U.S. do on U.S. soil? The Mexicans getting through undefeated through the first 5 games or so. Amazing. The final, though, the most viewed sporting event of all time, was bleh. And then the halftime show was fine, I guess. Madonna was great, as always. BTS was great. Shakira was great. I could do without the Ted Lasso sketch. I get what they're trying to do with it. You're just trying to put so much together. Bieber, feel the room, bud. What are we doing? I get it. Good song. Halftime of the World Cup, good? I don't know. All right. So 1 billion people watched. But what was running the broadcast? Cultura delivered 1.3 billion playback sessions during the 2026 FIFA World Cup. At its peak, 7 million concurrent streaming sessions, 86% higher demand than the 2022 World Cup, which is very interesting, but also at scale. The largest live event the platform has ever supported. AI agents inside live production monitored 6 environments, cut issue analysis from hours to minutes. New agentic avatars that they're calling it help viewers find matches and manage subscriptions. Okay, 1.3 billion sessions. scale human attention has never seen, pointed at sports all at once. The FIFA World Cup is the most prominent sporting event in all of sports, because the most eyeballs on it around the globe are there. What was the figure? FIFA has increased its total value every single World Cup because they're finding more opportunities to make money, but also like the eyeballs on the FIFA World Cup are more valuable now than they ever have been. Formula One is also like increasing its value, and all of the professional sports teams are really like increasing their value. I mean, like it's important to know. I haven't seen a sports team or league at the very, very high levels. I mean, I'm not sure how profitable USL League 2 is, USL League 1, but like TV, if people are watching on television, these leagues and these teams are becoming more valuable, which comes back to like the crux of the whole thing. If they have distribution is the value, and people want to tune in and spend the money to tune in to do that, so that the advertising dollars are there. And here's why that's a green light and not a threat to things. When distribution gets cheap, automated, the bottleneck moves. Can you afford the way to show it to the audience? Is the audience worth pointing the system at, worth pointing your dollars at? Because now, like, I, with a webcam and a teleprompter and a screen and like a little bit of maneuvering around, like these things can make, on the whole, high quality. I hope I'm high quality. Like my job is to be high quality, like, and entertaining for you. But if that's all sports on TV can be, and it could be easy to produce, that if everybody can produce something, then the quality of what is being produced is more valuable. So for the first time, an athlete can have direct, like really rich interactions with their audience. Or a league who is trying to become more profitable in more ways can create more experiences. I don't know where to watch the PLL. Okay? Maybe ESPN. But I don't have ESPN. I don't have any subscriptions. I get them from like my mom and friends, and I trade them or whatever. Okay, I'm not paying for Hulu Plus. No commercials. Love Island, no commercials for 60 episodes. But what used to take like a TV truck and experts to do this, like the technology is catching up. Like the tides are rising. And so that means, as we've seen before, volume's increasing. The things that are the highest quality will see its way through. And I hope I am of that highest quality that will see its way through to you on a consistent basis, which would be a lot of fun for me. All right, this episode brought to you by Athletes Fund. I need to do like commercials in here. Athletes Fund. We invest deal by deal into athletes with companies that, we can see upside in. And as part of Open Athletes, if you are part of Open Athletes, you have the opportunity to participate in our cohorts. And through Open Athletes, you have the opportunity to participate in potential capital investment with Athletes Fund. So Athletes Fund, athletes.fund. Graphic. I got to make those. Episode 2. Thanks for bearing with me. Okay, topic 3. Athletes are taking the media in-house. Okay. Federer has equity in On, and a bunch of other things, right? Erling Haaland has a growing YouTube channel. We see the value in that. DeChambeau, same thing. The model for how things are working for athletes have changed, and I think more valuable for athletes than pretty much anybody else, because their job is so visible and so impactful and so important for a lot of people that once you reach the level that Erling Haaland has, obviously, like, he doesn't need to have a YouTube channel, but he gets to have a YouTube channel. He wants to have a YouTube channel. He wants to have these conversations so that he can also create distribution that he owns himself. So the spine of this whole project, this whole thing, is athletes are done being like rented, because now they have the opportunity, because the barrier to entry is lower with TikTok and Instagram and whatever, but also like Erling Haaland, if he spent a day on Claude with some design and some thing. The only separation now is like taste and like the thing that you're capable and able to do. Athletes are done being rented. So it's changing what brand deals are. Roger Federer's 2019 deal with On included a 3% equity stake, ownership, like not a fee for his services. Erling Haaland, Jude Bellingham run their own YouTube channels. They're also very interesting, and like the way that that's working for them is very interesting. Jalen Brunson and many other NBA players have podcasts. Mookie Betts has a podcast. I would love to have those guys on our show. That would be very fun. Athletes now demand creative control and longer deals and veto power and equity and a seat at the table. The NBPA, National Basketball Players Association, launched a consumer campaign with Steph Curry, Jalen Brunson, pushing direct player-to-brand relationships. Okay, so start with the individual. Start with Federer. 2019, didn't take a check, took 3% of, like, he's from Switzerland, took a 3% cut of On. Amazing. At the time, it was like just a startup. It was just finding its way. And Roger Federer took his platform, took his opportunity, and turned this company that was growing and scaling into a multi-billion-dollar public company. Like, he helped do that. He was the catalyst for that. That stake has probably been worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay, Erling Haaland, if there's I don't know how much Vuori is worth, and I think Vuori is a little bit further along now than On was, but why not? I mean, if Vuori is willing to do it, of course. On wanted the ability to do that with that distribution, but if you're a startup sports company, startup any company, and you could sponsor an athlete directly, like On did with Roger Federer, would On be in the same place without Roger Federer? No, sorry. Just, it wouldn't. Maybe, but no. And so the value that Roger Federer had made this company, whatever it was, into a multi-billion-dollar public company. The product is really good. Their branding is really good, but Roger Federer was the one that legitimized it. Haaland's going in the audience. Jude Bellingham's going in the audience. Like, and let's face it, the value of what these athletes have is their, like, reach and distribution. Steph Curry the same way. That's what all these guys are, like, going to China because there's an opportunity to increase, like, their reach there, and using, like, Chinese shoe companies. Like, they've earned that right to be able to, like, do that. And they have the platform to where it's really valuable. I don't know how much Stephon Marbury has made in his career when he moved over to China. He's a god over there. Oh, he's not canceled. I don't think he's canceled yet. I don't think he's canceled at all. But when he moved over to China, I was like, what's he going to China for? And I think his shoe is just incredibly, like, valuable and impactful over there. Because Stephon Marbury, like, took the chance to go over play in China and did it, and it was incredibly successful. Like, individually, like a billboard, their billboard, but collectively in all of the reaches that they have is just, they are a media company themselves. So, like, what's the counterpoint? Like, owning your media, like, is your job. Like, Federer had the leverage because he was Federer, and most athletes post like 4 times, and they'll, like, post a partner thing or whatever. But if they commit to it, and if they believe in it, and if they're part of that, I think Shaq, whenever he sponsors something, I think he takes a percentage of the company because those companies want Shaq to be part of it. You athlete who is in the minor leagues, what is your opportunity to do these very same things? Might be locally. Maybe it could be nationally. But you as a professional athlete can start to have those conversations for sure and take advantage of it for sure. That segment presented by MindReady. MindReady, mental performance coaching and education for athletes. Come see us at mindready.co. We would love to talk to you about how you're supporting your athletes. We have coaches. We have curriculum and training. Any organization can participate in the MindReady program. It's very easy. Mindready.co. Okay, this one's really interesting. 19-year-old Lamine Yamal, global superstar Lamine Yamal, Barcelona's own Lamine Yamal, World Cup champion Lamine Yamal, partnered with American Eagle. The athlete itself is the brand, much like Bad Bunny did with Adidas, but like 19 years old, helps Spain win the World Cup. And he's not just doing an endorsement for American Eagle, like he's launching his own product line. So Yamal signed as American Eagle's first ever global brand ambassador on a 5-year deal beginning in summer 2026, which is, I don't know. We'll see what the deal is worth. We will see what is the deal worth? Because, let me go to this. Now you're watching me scroll through. I lost it. I had it. We will get to it. Live show, second show. Bear with me. American Eagle just announced the next chapter, his first exclusive product collaboration, a co-branded capsule dropping September 3rd. It's the Bad Bunny model. The collection is roughly 25 men's and unisex pieces, baggy denim, oversized silhouettes, cargo pants, things that he wears, the things that he's like branded himself. The partnership launched alongside American Eagle's Ready for the World campaign at time to the 2026 World Cup. Notice the progression here. Okay. The endorsement is the lesson that we need to take account of. Step 1, endorsement. He rents his face to collect a check, and the brand keeps the upside. Okay? He could have done that. Johnny Depp does that with, I'm sure he has equity in a lot of companies that he does, but he does that with whatever cologne, Dior cologne. Okay? Now it's his product. In sports, it's not as frequent. I think we see it a lot in like the makeup space. A lot of creators or a lot of artists. Sabrina Carpenter has her own makeup line. Bad Bunny has his own Adidas line and Adidas like branded products. Lamine Yamal, I can't think of, there's Jordan. Okay. Certainly. And in the NBA, like there's shoes. The best players get a shoe. Anthony Edwards got a shoe. Sophie Cunningham has a shoe. Caitlin Clark has a shoe. Okay. They got shoes. No one's doing 25-piece product lines with companies as large as American Eagle, right? Like traditionally, talent gets paid once, like a partner gets paid like every time they help sell like an asset. But now Lamine Yamal with tens of millions of followers and a World Cup win, and like could win a Golden Boot in the next 5 years. American Eagle didn't buy his like feed; they bought his audience and his distribution, and just audience and distribution. I should put that as every single item. You're not Lamine Yamal. You're not a 19-year-old global superstar. But the mechanism to do that is identical. How can you participate in the upside? Someone's doing the legwork. American Eagle is a global brand, right? Whatever. They did the legwork already. But somebody's doing the legwork right now to build a company, and they need help with distribution. And for them, this can just be a distribution task. Every deal that you are able to like participate in or that you can create for yourself because you are in the room to have these conversations with people, would they be willing to pay the tax for you? So a minor league baseball player or a minor league basketball player with like 11,000 followers or 5,000 followers, get more. Try to get more. But 50,000 followers across all platforms, can you out earn what you're making on the field? Maybe. Distribution is incredibly valuable, and we're seeing it. Every single one of these categories is sports creates distribution so that these companies can do X, Y, Z. American Eagle sees the distribution that Lamine Yamal can provide them and are willing to give him a lot of money so that he is visible with American Eagle clothing. If you're Gen Z, you're going to see Lamine Yamal. When I was growing up, why would we wear Adidas? I didn't play soccer growing up. But why would my friends wear Adidas? Because Messi wore Adidas, Ronaldo wore Nike, Lamine Yamal is going to wear American Eagle. And that's really valuable. And I wish they disclosed the total price of how much he's worth. Because if we look at, let's see if we can find it here. American Eagle, now they're not going to have it on their press release. American Eagle announces Lamine Yamal as brand ambassador. American Eagle Outfitters announced today that American Eagle has branded Lamine Yamal as their first global ambassador beginning in summer 2026. Okay. But for how? American Eagle has been partnership with Lamine Yamal for first exclusive product collection. However, partnership rollout after a major milestone for both entities. Much of what we discussed. However, how much has it been disclosed? How much? I would say they're going to make hundreds of millions of dollars. I would say he gets a percentage of every single one. He gets a percentage of every single piece sold, however much that would be. And I would hope that they paid him $50 million. And even then, for the relevance that he's giving them, I would hope that he's going to make a little bit more than that on this deal. A 5-year deal with $50 million with American Eagle and product line every year for how visible he is globally. All of these topics, except for the salary cap, is how athletes and teams and leagues provide distribution to companies and relevancy to billionaires and relevancy to these billion-dollar tech companies who are like, I don't know what Avnet does, but I know that Avnet is the sponsor of the Arizona Diamondbacks, at least was. Okay. Biggest jersey pack sale. It's the same thing. We're talking about the same thing. Over and over and over and over again, we're talking about the same thing. Ohio State's value on its chest is worth $15 to JP Morgan Chase. Okay. Guardians with the 12th team in Major League Baseball to do it. I'm pretty sure all NBA teams do it now. I'm pretty sure all NFL teams do it. Certainly during practice games. Maybe during real games now. But now, I think the first one is Ohio State, and Ohio State's worth $15 million to JP Morgan Chase. Ohio State inked a jersey patch sponsorship with JP Morgan Chase, believed to be the largest to date, over $15 million a year, and some reports say nearly $17 million. It covers the full athletic department, all 36 varsity sports, not just football, but are you watching Ohio State baseball? No, I mean, it's going to be there, and maybe they wait to the College World Series. This is all about football. Ohio State pulled the rest in, and it's all, it's going to bring more money into all organizations, and Ohio State is making the most money. That and the Texas Longhorns are making the most money per year. So good on them. I mean, if the athletes are allowed to make money, sell the jersey sponsorship. If money's coming in, why limit yourself because of notions of 10 years ago when it was just not done? They could have done this 10 years ago. Why not? So they're taking a step now, and I think that's the right move. $17 million potentially per year. It's incredibly huge for college sports. Chase logo sits above the Big Ten patch, and it will debut against Ball State on September 5th. Chase will also fund NIL opportunities and financial literacy programs for athletes, as they should. I think, of course, I had a bank account going into college, but if I go to Ohio State, or I'm a fan of Ohio State, or I see Ohio State, and I see that they're doing things to help the athletes and creating financial literacy, all these athletes are going to open up Chase bank accounts. All these fans might open up a Chase bank account. You might have a customer for life. You know how hard it is to switch your bank? Hard. So once they have you, or if they use this as an opportunity to get more customers, for $15 million a year, they're pulling in billions of dollars a year. This is not even a drop in the bucket to them. The opportunity it creates to them is incredibly lucrative and first of its kind. And we're going to see Wells Fargo do it with Arizona State. You mark my words. Wells Fargo is going to sponsor Arizona State in the same way. They already sponsor I think at least they did sponsor the basketball arena. Why not sponsor the jersey too? Why not do the same thing to help athletes? Fine. NIL opportunities. Pay them to come to Ohio State. financial literacy programs for athletes. $15 million a year for a patch on a college jersey 5 years ago. Again, laughed out of compliance. Okay. And the language, the structure, NIL opportunities, financial literacy programming. So a Fortune 10 company, Fortune 20 company, Fortune 10 company, Fortune 10 bank, buying distribution to the most valuable 18 to 22-year-olds in the world and dressing up as a gift. It's customer acquisition with a bow on it, presented by JP Morgan Chase. The players are the distribution. Again and again, distribution. How are these athletes going to leverage their partnership with Chase? That's what I'm interested in. And the tension is fantastic. Okay? It's fantastic for Ohio State. $17 million a year for 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-olds wearing the logo on the jersey. Okay? JP Morgan Chase is paying a fraction of their yearly revenue on that, on their ad budget. And they're part of the most lucrative. They're associated with winning at levels that they even haven't seen before. Okay? It's incredibly valuable. Sports creates distribution. Distribution tax is $17 million for this company. What's that worth? I would say that's a steal. Is everything undervalued right now? Is $15 million to be on Ohio State's football jersey per year undervalued? I don't know. You tell me. That section presented by Audit. Audit. Claps. Marketing and advertising from the 22nd century. We love working with Audit. Audit is amazing. Audit made our websites. Audit is incredibly valuable and super easy to use. Go to audit, AUUDIT.JeremyWolf, that's me, .co. I build everything. Come work with us. We're fun to work with, and we do really good work. Check out our website. This is where I need to have a button. Here's a sponsor. Blah, blah, blah. Go to Audit. I'm working on it. I'm working on it in real time. Okay. Less sports, tech, intersection, business distribution. More just, let's keep in mind, MLB does not have a salary cap. Okay. What does it mean for Major League Baseball not to have a salary cap? Bryce Harper can actually get the fair market value to what he is worth from the teams. Okay. Steph Curry, even though he's making $60 million a year or whatever, even that's undervalued, has a salary cap. So he can only make proportional to him underneath the salary cap. Yes, there's small fees if you go over, but Steph Curry is worth more to the team, to the Golden State Warriors, than $80 million a year. Even though the average annual value on Bryce Harper is less, and I think his overall total contract with the Phillies was more. I would say basketball players said, you're one of 5 people on the court. If there was no salary cap, how much would these players make? And when you cap the salary, you're not capping ownership. The amount of revenue that the teams make is not capped. They're uncapped. And so this is what this whole thing is about, is that Major League Baseball should not be, I'm watching Project Runway on Hulu. No, we were watching on which one do we have commercials? We were watching on Amazon Prime. We were watching Project, of course. And there's a commercial for Major League Baseball. It's just propaganda for the owners. It's propaganda for the league to say that we need a salary cap. The league works for the owners. The union represents the players. The league is not representing the players. The commissioner works for the owners. The commissioner works for the owners. Okay? What does the commissioner want? He wants to make his most money that he possibly can for the owners. So Major League Baseball is going to try to put a salary cap in so that they can continue to make exponential revenue, and what the players make themselves is capped. I was at a very small level. I was having these conversations because at the time, minor league baseball players did not have a union, and they're making $3,000 a year, and they were not subject to Fair Labor Standards Act, and they had no protections under the law. Okay, I've sat on the labor side of this. Baseball is walking towards like another fight. Like there will be a lockout. The CBA expires on December 1st at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. The owners are pushing for a salary cap, and that has been historically like rejected. Like, of course, it's been brought up in the past. The pressure point is the Dodgers' competitive balance payroll is $416.8 million. Clear of the Mets near $379.1 million. The size of exchange initial proposals covering a cap and a floor. No deal by December 1st likely means a lockout. The last one, 2021, 2022, ran into spring training. Okay. Those are the facts. However, I'm obviously on the player's side here, but I can be unbiased. Okay. The owners say a cap creates competitive balance. Players hear a ceiling on what they can earn in a brutally short career, and the teams have no cap on their revenue. And yeah, sure, they're sharing, and yeah, sure, there's socialism in Major League Baseball. Sorry to bother you. There's revenue sharing between teams on that media contract, by the way, which is like so complicated. MLB TV and like those regional deals. I have no idea where to watch a Diamondbacks game here in Phoenix. No idea. But a $400 million payroll means the business is printing money, and the pie has never been bigger, and the owners want to put on a cap to how much the players can make. And the players, I'm sorry, I'm not part of the union conversations. I wish I was. I should call people at the league that I know, at the union that I know. Maybe, not that my thoughts have anything to do with it. But if they agree to a salary cap in Major League Baseball, it is not a competitive balance. It's not competitive balance because you have the Pittsburgh Pirates who spent a little bit of money, right? They spent a little bit of money. But you have teams who spend no money and try to maximize their revenue every single year, and to them it doesn't matter. Winning doesn't matter to them at all. So you can't tell me that the argument is to create competitive balance, because they could spend money to competitively balance. Moneyball was cool because it showed that small market teams that are still worth now $1 billion. The A's are selling for $1 billion. They're moving to Vegas, right? It showed that you don't have to spend like the Yankees to compete with the Yankees. Okay? Winning creates more opportunities for more money. Okay? For more tickets. There's 82 home games. And if you put a good team on the field for the least amount of money, you have opportunities to make that back because people want to go see their team win. Okay? But competitive balance, arguing for competitive balance is the reason why to put in a salary cap is ludicrous in itself. I think every player, if I were to talk to a player or somebody from the union right now, I think they would laugh that notion out of the room, because they could do it now. Moneyball is great. It showed that the A's, the movie's good, right? The movie's good. It's a good movie. But we're not going to mention their pitching staff one time. Barry Zito either won the Cy Young that year or the year before. Tim Hudson, Mark Bolter. I think Jason Isringhausen was either still there or like had just left for the Cardinals that year. So you tell me it's all about like Scott Hatteberg? We're not even going to mention Miguel Tejada in the whole thing. Anyway, you can create really good teams if you want to, if you know how and you want to spend the money. Okay? The Mets want to spend the money and they don't know how. The Rays don't want to spend the money and know how. So we changed Minor League Baseball by organizing, by building rooms like this, by creating trust. Now they have a union. Now they make $40,000 a year. players can collectively with the share of a common good can collectively do the thing that they need to do. I don't think there's going to be factions of players. So is a cap actually bad for players? Yes. Even if there is a floor. The floor right now for minimum average salary is I think minimum salary for major leaguers is probably around at the time when I was playing it was $550,000. This is 8 years ago. But if the floor is $4 million, are those guys that would make $4 million going to vote? But they're not going to make this $450 million contract or $530 that Bryce Harper made, or $400 that Mike Trout made, which was too little for him at the time. Juan Soto making $770 million in his contract. So if we have a salary cap, we're not going to see those. We might see those over time. Ohtani's is like an $800 million deal or whatever over 20 years. More of that is going to happen because the players are going to argue for that. So, if I'm a Major League Baseball player and I'm Bryce Harper, it doesn't really affect him because he made the deal. But if I'm Tarek Skubal, I want to maximize the total amount of revenue I can make. And I'm not going to do that if there's a salary cap. So, I think there's more Tarek Skubals right now than there are Bryce Harper. Okay. Something to consider. Let's talk about gambling again, a little bit differently. We talked about advertising. We talked about gambling, sports betting, prediction markets. Let's talk about Premier League shirt ban on gambling brands. I think this is a really good move. It's a move that's needed to happen for a long time. Certainly, Europe is going to be a first mover in this. There's too much money in America, but I think there's too much damage being done in Europe when it comes to gambling. There's already been integrity issues. Ivan Toney got in trouble for betting. I think there were others. In Major League Baseball, there was an issue with a couple players betting on themselves or betting on games. So Pete Rose never made the Hall of Fame, and he did the very same thing in the 1990s. He also did other bad things. But what are we going to do? So a clean way to understand this is the next season, Premier League is going to ban gambling brands on the front of match day shirts. So what is going to happen to the money? What is going to happen to those brands? Are going to pull out. I don't know, one bet I think is one. At least I've seen that before, maybe advertising. They're going to go to other leagues. They still want to use sports as distribution. They still want to get young men who are predominantly viewers of this. Who was the sponsor of it was Kick Sauber was the team before they turned into Audi in F1. Is Kick gambling? OKX, what sponsors McLaren, is gambling. They're building legitimacy by using athletes and using sport. And much like the FIA won't do, Premier League is banning front of shirt gambling sponsors for next season. Mr. Vegas signed a record front of shirt deal with Reading FC. Betson took a front of shirt slot with the Wanderers, I believe. Betano extended with Aston Villa, but moved from the shirt to the sleeve through 2028-2029. Bet365 launched a new Juventus partnership. The category is spending hard as rules tighten. Scarcity economics in football kits, which it is. Each team has a sponsor. And you remember the front of shirt sponsor. You know for the longest time that Snapdragon sponsored Manchester United or Chevrolet. I don't know what Snapdragon does. I think they do hardware, hard drives, computers. But is somebody in England going to buy a Chevy Volt because Manchester United is sponsored by Chevy? I don't know. Maybe. But sports is distribution, right? Cadillac is doing a really good thing by spending $1 billion to get into F1. They're in F1. They're on the track. They're participating in all the things. They get visibility globally. They're a luxury brand. Was it worth it for them and GM to put up that money? Yes. They will make that back tenfold. Okay? Even if they do poorly, which they're in last place right now, but maybe they're above. Maybe they're above. I don't think they've gotten a point. At least Aston Martin's got a point. So Patano did a smart thing. They slid to the sleeve. Okay. But if you're the team, if you're McLaren, is it more valuable to have that shirt sponsor? Anybody wants to be a sponsor of this team. So are the right sponsors willing to pay and activate in the way that uplifts your brand? I would say sports betting does not. I don't know if FanDuel and DraftKings are sponsoring any like shirts in Major League Sports in America. But you can go to the FanDuel restaurant at where the Phoenix Suns play right now, and you can bet. And you could do that in the Premier League. At least, I think you still can. I don't think they're getting rid of that. You can go to the game and bet at the game. And you can bet on your phone at the game. You can bet on the next play at the game. It's everywhere. It's seeping into everything. I don't do it. That is not my fix of choice. I don't like the feeling of like, man, I got $5 on this and I really hope he does the thing. So I'm hoping that this is the first of many opportunities for a major league professional sport to like do the right thing and limit the amount of visibility that gambling has. I think gambling is bad, but gambling brings in a lot of revenue. I mean, at the state level, if it's spent well, right? But for these teams, certainly. But if the shirt sponsor is $8 million and it's either Batano or Ford, can you get Ford? I don't know. What do you guys think? That's very interesting. How do we feel about sports betting? Okay, let's talk as we get through ESPN and the MEAC have media rights through 2030, 2031. So ESPN bought a multi-year media deal with the MEAC, the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, the MEAC, one of the historic HBCU conferences. Not to be confused with the MAC and a little bit of Tuesday night MAC action, but the MEAC is very interesting that they would do that. ESPN and the MEAC signed a multi-year rights deal running through 2030, 2031 academic year. ESPN carries 24 regular season football games a year, plus the men's and women's basketball tournaments on its networks. All other tournament rounds go to ESPN's digital networks and then on their streaming tier. Okay. Same day, ESPN also cut a rights deal with the International Dance League, a startup pro dance circuit. So on the surface, small deals. The MEAC conference, who's going to watch that? The International Dance League, who's going to watch that? But they're not buying it because it's buying audiences it doesn't have yet. Okay, that's cheap. The MEAC brings a deeply loyal community. And the dance leagues bring attention and a young TikTok native crowd. Okay? Both are distribution. The championships go on linear, like ESPN. All other rounds go digital. So for these people who need to watch, who want to watch, are going to get a subscription to ESPN Plus and participate on ESPN's like social media streams, right? Social media feeds. Okay? Those communities are underserved and loyal. ESPN for pennies purchase these rights deals. And again, you don't need mass. You don't need mass anymore. Riches in their niches, etc., etc. So the Mid-Atlantic, Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, the International Dance League are going on ESPN because they're creating depth, and that is worth however much they are willing to spend on it. Let's see if we can find a little bit more on breaking down the initial CBA proposal. No. How much is that deal worth? Can we find it? On here? Under the deal, ESPN will carry nearly 24 regular season college football games. The MEAC, proud history, continues to play an important HBCU sports landscape, and all of the teams that they play too. Don't forget, and the revenue that's going to be shared. I mean, they're going to make money from this, and as will the teams. It's incredibly important that an Alabama A&M facing a Howard is going to make money doing that. And that's really important. And so for the MEAC, for SWAC, for all of the different conferences that like participate at this level, like I am hopeful that this is incredibly like lucrative and helpful for them. Because this is good football. It's not bad football at all. It's really good football. And I want them to benefit from that. They should, because it's like a very high quality like level of football. Am I going to watch? Bleh. Yes, I will watch. I do love a Thursday night college football game when you're at the gym and you're walking on the treadmill and you're like, who are these teams I think I've heard of? Oh, okay, cool. This is good. This is good. This is good. This is good football. I'm excited to see what happens. But it's really interesting. Like, some people are going large and wide, and some people are going narrow. And ESPN right now is like this small conference and this international dance startup company that you've never heard of. What was the other athlete? Unlimited? Athletes Unlimited? I think that's really interesting also. I mean, athletes can make money from that. Like, let them do that. And if people are going to watch because it's high quality, let them watch. Okay? Certainly. Today's take. We don't have a guest today. If you want to join us, go to openathletes.org and show.openathletes.org for more information. If you're a current and former college professional Olympic athlete building a business, somebody who is working in one of these fields or at one of these companies, I would love to talk to you. What we want to do is just have these conversations live. I just want to pull up a Google Meet and have these conversations with people, and I think it's going to be incredibly exciting. So today, like, what's our take? Every single one of the stories we talked about today, minus the salary cap one in Major League Baseball, were about how companies are using these different platforms for distribution. Okay. So we need to consider like distribution on what? Holland has an audience. Federer has an audience. Lamine Yamal has an audience. Ohio State has an audience. What is the tax on that? Federer has a 3% tax of, or 3% stake in On. Is he worth more than 3% to On? They would not be a multi-billion-dollar IPO company without Roger Federer. The amount that they had to pay is 3% of the company. Chase paid $17 million. Baseball's headed for a lockout at a $400 million like payroll tax. We're fighting over, in sports, I'm talking about it, fighting over splitting the pie. Gambling brands are making record numbers for they're making record numbers of revenue. And they're spending records amount of money to have like this much of a shirt. But the shirt brings relevance because it's on you. And it's on teams that are incredibly lucrative and valuable and gaining in revenue over time. How much did Jerry Jones buy the Dallas Cowboys for in 1980 something? 20 million? And now it's worth 7 billion. Seattle Seahawks were just purchased by Khosla venture capitalists for $6.8 billion. His tax for relevancy, $6.8 billion. Ohio State just sold their shirt sponsor to all of their teams for $17 million. I would say Chase underpaid for that. If brands want to sponsor for relevancy and you're on the most lucrative college programs and you're spending $17 million to be part of that, I think it could be worth $50 million. And I think that would still be underpaid. Athletes are the reason why, obviously, to generate the attention. Now, I mean, there's NIL, so like college athletes can make the money. everyone downstream is collecting the leagues, the network, the sports books, the prediction markets. The brand is renting you, the athlete, for a fee. Everyone taxes your attention except for you. The reason is not that you're dumb. That distribution used to be expensive. Okay? Distribution is now not as expensive. Okay? Take for example me. Here's the show. 40 people are going to watch. Hi, if you're one of those 40 people. Like and subscribe, whatever. And I don't play on Tuesday nights on MLB Network. I don't play in the Premier League. So I am bound to YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Substack. I'm bound to the algorithm because I can't make it out of the algorithm right now. But you, athlete, are not bound to the algorithm. You, athlete, whether small or not, people see you and your work, your sporting, outside of the algorithm. They're spending money to be there and see you, no matter what level you're at. So you can get out of the algorithm. How can you monetize you getting out of the algorithm? Is my question. Now, during a game, you're not allowed to sell your shirt sponsor because you don't own the rights to that shirt. And Nike is not going to spend $1 million to get their cleats on your foot. Okay. And I think Bruce Bowl has done an amazing job at just creating relevance for themselves. I would love to talk to them. The way that Bruce Bowl has just skyrocketed is amazing. Aria is amazing too. I know the owner, Kyle Mock, incredibly. I knew him well, and we did stuff more than baseball, and he's an incredibly good dude. And I'm really happy for his success. And he's found a way to brand gloves, brand elbow pads and shin guards, and things that are unique to that athlete. And if you're Jazz Chisholm, where's Aria? I don't know. Maybe it's against the rules of Major League Baseball. Could you sell your space on your arm guard? I mean, you kind of are. To Aria's logo's on there. Bruce Bolt logo's on there. But if Jazz Chisholm's sponsored by Gatorade, why not put a Gatorade logo on some of your stuff? I'm just saying. Why not post every day? Why not post behind the scenes stuff? A brand wants to be part of the uniqueness that you provide. That's why Chase is spending $17 million. And that's why all of these teams are spending millions of dollars to be on the shirt, because it's relevant for them to be on you. You can do something like this too. I would love to help you. Reach out. Why not? The more people having these conversations, creating opportunities to get in the room and distribute the thing that they want to do, that's amazing. Double A infielder or like Olympic hopeful has an audience, whether it's smaller or larger, or you are an Olympian, you have an audience. Like, you are out of the algorithm. I have to do things I don't really play the algorithm. As you can tell, we're not editing any of this to your detriment. But I hope we're going to have some music soon and clean it up and the graphics and the things. But I wanted to create a high level piece of, you're going to spend time with us. I want to create a high level experience for you. And all of these sponsors are companies that I've started or been part of. And I am putting those there and doing ad reads for my own thing, because I might do an ad read and you might be an athletic director and you might say, oh, I could use Mind Ready. And if I didn't do that, you wouldn't know I read Mind Ready. So start the thing and post the video and share it with somebody and do it again and do it again and do it again and do it again because you love it. Do it again because it brings you joy and it builds you a community. But now is as great a time as any, if you're an athlete, to build your personal brand. It's the worst thing you could possibly say. But now is the time that you have to like show who you are because of the opportunities that could be on the other side of that. For me, I created opportunities by emailing a bunch of companies to say, we are hungry and we would like your peanut butter. And people would send peanut butter. But if I grew my following to 50,000 people, I would love to say, I love your peanut butter. And I will help you grow your peanut butter company for a piece of the company. And free peanut butter. Oh, shit, I'll pay for the peanut butter. But I would like a piece of your company and I will help grow it because I have a platform. And I'm outside of the algorithm. Now, for a minor league baseball player, it's harder because there are less eyeballs on you. But if you're in the NHL, some athletes are doing this incredibly well, right? But like everybody can do. It's not selling out. Okay? You have an opportunity to like use what's in front of you to like get your bag. Okay? If the leagues are making uncapped revenue and the brands are making uncapped revenue, why can't you play the game? So, play the game with them and find opportunities to play the game with them. You're not the talent. You're the distribution. Okay? That's it. Simple as that. I hope this helps. This is a lot of fun. Episode 2. Now, what are your thoughts? Show.openathletes.org. Openathletes.org. Reach out. Follow us on do all the things. Thank you guys. Hope you have a great day.